Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at the Joby Gorillapod 5K and SLR zoom. The Joby Gorillapod is the most popular vlogging tripod there is, and we're gonna see today if it still holds up in 2021. I'm actually using a Joby Gorillapod to film this intro right here. If we flip this around, this is a smaller one, the SLR zoom, that I don't quite trust to hold my camera. That's why I have this one. We're mainly gonna be talking about this one, but we also have this one, so let's talk about it. And this is a cool spot and all, but there are cooler ones, so I'm gonna go find one. I'll see you then. Almost, but there's nowhere really to show the Joby off. Like, you can't wrap it around anything here, so I guess on to the next spot. Okay, yeah, this is probably a good spot. There's plenty of stuff around here. So let's set up camp here and talk about the Gorillapod. Okay, so if you're looking at Joby Gorillapods, there's really two that you're probably going to be considering if you have a point and shoot or anything up to like a Sony a7S III. So here they are. This one right here is the Joby SLR Zoom, and this one right here is the Joby 5K Gorillapod. And you actually can't get the white one anymore. This one's about 3 years old, so I can give you a pretty good review from experience on this one. This one is only available in these colors now, but if you want either of these, you can go under this video in the description. There's a Amazon link to get either of these if you want to. They aren't affiliate links, but they're just there to give you a quick buying option if you want either of these. So like I said, I've had this one for 3 years. This one I've had for about probably 2 days. So here is a quick unboxing of the Joby Gorillapod 5K. The unboxing is just nothing crazy. It's just you grab it out of the box and it's right there. But the reason I bought this Joby Gorillapod 5K is because I needed a new Gorillapod. If you see this white Gorillapod right here, you can see, you know, it's pretty big. I used to think it's really big, but then I got this one. You see how much bigger this one is. So this one right here, you would want this, say if you had a point and shoot, or maybe even a Sony, let's say a6400 or a Canon M50 Mark II. If you had one of those, you probably want to be looking at this one. If you have anything higher than that, let's say even a Sony a6600, or you have maybe a Sony a7 III or a7S III, R5, any of those, you're going to be looking at this, because this one is made for up to 11 pounds. This one's like 5 pounds, and really there's a reason why I wouldn't even trust this with 5 pounds, and I'm going to go over that in a minute, so stay tuned for that. But this one is very secure. If you look at the legs, they're really secure, but you have to keep in mind when these things are fresh out of the box, they're a lot stiffer. Eventually, after a year or so, one leg might start to crack and need a replacement. So these do have a lifetime that's actually pretty short, but when you first get them, man, they are a good tripod. If we look at this one, which I've had for over 3 years, this does have a cracked leg in the back, but if we open it up like this, you can see they do start to kind of bend when I go like this. And of course, they're smaller legs, but they're just nowhere near as strong. After a little while, you can see it's bending a little bit. This one, if I were to take it out like that, you can see it's not going anywhere. It's much more secure, so I definitely trust this with, of course, a heavier camera. But before I go into why you might want to get this one over this one, or this one over this one, I'm just going to tell you the differences straight out. And those are that this one right here, of course, they both have a ball head, but this one right here, how you move the head is that you untwist this knob on the side. Now, when you untwist this knob, it loosens the ball head that you can now move anywhere you like. But then also, you can use this piece and just twist it. So this you can use just to get the right angle. You can't use it for panning because it also loosens the ball head. Now, the switch plate on the SLR Zoom is just the button you press on the front, and then once you press that button, the switch plate just falls straight out. Now, you might see that and be like, how secure is that? My answer is not very secure. I'll give you a little bit of an example of that. If we put this in and this just gets bumped, it's falling right out when I press it like that. So when I put this in, that pushes it down and then it goes in. But the thing is, you don't actually need to even press this to pull it out. Since it's plastic, you can just grab it and just pull it straight out. Now, if you have a heavier camera, that means that, say you're vlogging, let's just put this in a weird, janky vlogging pose since I don't have a lot of time, and then you're vlogging, and there's something over there, and you turn around real fast, and you go like this, right? Well, that camera that's in there, since it's kind of weak, your camera just went onto the ground. Oh, your camera's broken, you dropped it on cement. So there is a certain amount of pressure that needs to be applied for that to happen. So again, if you had like a 6100 or a lighter camera like that, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if you had a heavier camera, that means more weight is being put on that pressure point, which means that's gonna happen way easier. So that just kind of cements the point of don't put a really expensive or heavy camera on this. But it does have a level on the switch plate if that's a big deal for you, to make sure that your shot is level. Actually, haven't really used it that much since most cameras have an in-body level, but if that's a big deal for you, this one does have it, while the 5K does not. Now what the 5K does have is a whole bunch of stuff, and that is, of course, it still has this thing on the side which will loosen that, and then your ball head is like that. But this right here will not turn yet because they have a second knob for adjusting that. So if we put this back up here and tighten it, now if we loosen this knob right here, now this is going to pan. So there's two different adjustment knobs for both of those actions, which basically gives you a little bit more versatility. If you're in a pinch, you can use this as a pan. It's not super smooth, but you could slow-mo it from like 60 frames and it probably would look pretty good. And another big deal that makes this a lot more secure, of course, it's a bigger ball head and everything, but the switch plate right here is on a knob instead of just like a button that you press. So this right here, you need to loosen this, and this will not fall out. You have to pull it from the top because it locks in through this little piece right here. So once you set it in there, it can't like fall out that way. You have to actually pull it out from the top. Now this switch plate is, I found, really handy. It actually has this thing in the bottom which allows you to twist it onto the camera when the SLR zoom just has a coin slot, so you need to use a coin or your fingernail, which really hurts, to put your camera on. But the cool thing about this is that you can actually take this thing and put it onto a large majority of tripods. Now, if you've seen my videos, I have a Geekoto tripod, and you can actually take this switch plate and put it straight onto the Geekoto tripod, and it locks right in like it's made for it. It works really well, so I can go from using my Geekoto tripod and just release it off of that, and then just slap it straight onto here, twist it in, and then say my camera's on this, then I'm vlogging back to this and I want to go back, you just twist this right here if you twisted it the right way, and then you just take this and put it back on your tripod, which I found is extremely handy. And I've actually brought my second camera so I can show you what the Joby looks like with a Sony a7 III on it. Also, I'm going to wrap it around some trees and stuff, since you can do that all around here, give you a few examples of how you might use this and how it's really handy. And then after we're done with that, I'm going to talk about the Joby Gorillapod's main competitor in 2021, which is the Switch Pod. So stay tuned for that. But right now I'm going to show you some cool places that you can put your Gorillapod with your point and shoot on the SLR zoom and your Sony a7 III on the 5K. Okay, so the first example is, say if I see this right here and I'm like, that's a cool spot. We take our SLR zoom with our point and shoot, and we can just reach over and just wrap the Gorillapod around it. And you can see it's actually pretty easy to do. And then using the ball head, you might level it to a pretty good extent. And then there we go. If you excuse all of the dogs barking, you can see now we have a really cool shot. We can come in here and be like, hey, what's up? So that's just one of the cool things you can do with this. Also, there's a bunch of spikes in here, so I'm gonna step out of here and we'll go on to the next spot. So if we wanted to wrap our 5K around a tree, we definitely could. So here's the Sony a7 III, and if we take it like this, you could just wrap it straight up around a tree like this. And now, me personally, I wouldn't want to leave it here for hours, but if you just wrap it around here for a few minutes just to get a shot, and let's say did this, then I could just hit my record button and start talking to the camera. So here's a cool shot that I got from just putting my Joby Gorillapod, wrapping it around a random tree, and now it looks like I have a high-up tripod that looks pretty good. So here's an example that kind of plays into the whole Joby versus Switch Pod argument, which we'll get into a second. Is where, say if I wanted to set my tripod here, I could just set it right here and it's pretty secure, and then I just move the ball head where I want, and then I'm in frame. And then if I just want to get going, all I have to do is grab it like this, and really I could just hold it like this, or just hold it by one since this one's new and strong, and you can just go like this and start filming. Okay, so I have my Sony set up on the 5K, and actually I want to show what this looks like, because this is a pretty good looking angle, and this is what it actually looks like. It's just wrapped around a tree, and it works extremely well. Also, if you hear the dog like absolutely going nuts in the background, I can't control it, it's not my dog. And of all these clips I've shown you of the Gorillapod, they're all doing something that the Switch Pod can't. Now, I think I'm going to make a separate video on the Switch Pod versus the Gorillapod, so stay tuned for that. There's some actually really big differences, and the Switch Pod and the Gorillapod, they're both great for different scenarios, so they definitely both have their place, but I'm going to get into that in another video. But I do want to go over prices of the Joby Gorillapods. The SLR Zoom is like $49.99 to $59.99. It's actually pretty expensive. You can find it sometimes for $39.99. So the MSRP is not really clear on that one because it's always going up and down. The MSRP on the 5K is $99.99. Whoa boy, that's pretty expensive. But for someone who just needs something that'll work and they can trust for at least a year, it's really worth it. So if you guys are thinking of getting a 5K or the SLR Zoom, I highly recommend it. If you can, even if you have a smaller camera like a 6400 or something, I would still get the 5K if you can afford it, because I really do trust it way more than the SLR Zoom, even though it did work for me for 3 years, and I think it's only dropped a camera once, but it was just like right on grass and it was like super lucky. But the 5K, of course, I haven't had it for very long, but it just seems like a better option if you're thinking of getting one of them. So in 2021, I would say that the Joby Gorillapod is still the vlogging tripod. Although the Switch Pod has its use case, the Joby Gorillapod really has a lot more use cases, and it's better for vloggers that just want to not bring always a tripod and just want to set their camera in a cool angle by just wrapping the tripod around the tree. It's really handy. I really do love it. So hopefully I've provided you guys with enough information to decide which one you want to get and if you want to get one. And if I did help you guys out in this video, maybe consider going under this video and you'll see my channel logo. If you click that, it'll bring you to all my other videos, and they're really interesting. So stay tuned for the Switch Pod versus Gorillapod video, and I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe. Peace out. Also, filming this whole video, I only brought my Sony a7 III battery down to 80%. Stay tuned for the review. I'm loving this thing so far. Also, this whole video is in 4K. This is only my second video I filmed in 4K. First video I filmed in 4K on the Sony a7 III. So if you guys liked it, let me know in the comments down below. If you thought it was really good. 4K takes up way too much space, but this is more of an experiment. So thanks guys for watching. Peace out again. Bye.